18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Brave.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's 11 o'clock. I'm Alex Armstrong, and this is Alex Armstrong Tonight's Late Edition.
This is a very special event. There had 500,000 people yesterday and today in Israel, and also the Muslim and Arab countries are all cheering.
Yes, President Trump says all sides are cheering as he heads to the Middle East for that historic peace summit. And that's as Sir Keir Starmer lands in Egypt, pledging Britain did play a key role and will play a key role in rebuilding Gaza. Plus, China, China, China. It's the scandal that isn't going anywhere, is it? Our growing economic reliance on China is potentially risking an economic debt track. How beholden are we to China? Plus, what promises were made over that London super embassy could be pretty damning for our government. Also,
I've questioned myself as to why did I go, what was I doing, and was it the right thing to do?
Is Prince Andrew's time up as a royal family member? We'll be speaking with Daphne Barak, the renowned international journalist who broke this story. She has the latest scoop on Andrew and whether he's in more hot water. There's loads of news to dig into this evening, and joining me to talk about all of it is former Labour Minister Bill Rammell, political commentator Chloe Dobbs, and GB News comedian Paul Cox. But first, let's get your headlines with Aaron Armstrong.
Thank you, Alex. Good evening to you. Just after 11 o'clock, our headlines. Donald Trump is on his way to the Middle East ahead of a series of significant engagements on Monday. The US president is scheduled to arrive in Israel tomorrow morning, where he'll meet families of the hostages, hold talks with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and address the Israeli parliament. He will then head to Egypt to chair a Gaza Peace Plan summit alongside Egypt's president and world leaders from around 20 countries. Trump says there's a lot of optimism on all sides.
This is a very special event. There had 500,000 people yesterday and today in Israel, and also the Muslim and Arab countries are all cheering. Everybody's cheering at one time. That's never happened before. Usually if you have one cheering, the other isn't. The other is the opposite. This is the first time everybody is amazed and they're thrilled, and it's an honor to be involved, and we're going to have an amazing time. And
Sir Keir Starmer has already arrived in Egypt. The Prime Minister will attend the signing ceremony of Donald Trump's peace plan and will pledge the UK's leadership and £20 million in aid for the reconstruction efforts. Hamas disarmament and the future governance of Gaza are among a number of unresolved obstacles which could derail the agreement. The US Vice President, though, has said that an historic breakthrough is close. The gathering of world leaders will coincide with the return of all 20 living Israeli hostages held by Hamas and the release of thousands of Palestinian prisoners. Families of the hostages have been gathering in Tel Aviv to celebrate their loved ones' imminent return. Israeli officials say all 20 captives will be released simultaneously to the Red Cross in Gaza early on Monday before being reunited with their families in southern Israel. It's understood Hamas is insisting 7 prominent Palestinian leaders serving long sentences should be freed in the hostage-prisoner swap. Meanwhile, dozens of aid trucks have been seen entering Gaza in an effort to alleviate the humanitarian crisis. It's thought more than 24 people, though, have been killed during heavy gunfire between Hamas and armed gangs in Gaza City following the Israeli troop withdrawal. A cabinet minister says Sir Keir Starmer's national security advisor played no role in the collapse of a prosecution against 2 alleged Chinese spies. The case against former parliamentary researcher Chris Cash and the academic Christopher Berry collapsed last month, prompting suggestions that Jonathan Powell had exerted influence to ensure key evidence confirming China was a threat was withheld from the prosecution. But the Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, says Mr Powell was not involved in those discussions and retains the full confidence of the Prime Minister. A girl and boy who were found dead in a home in Stafford have been named by police. Miraj ul-Zahara was 2 and 3-year-old Abdul Momin Al-Fateh were found unresponsive with injuries inside the home on Sunday morning. They died at the scene. A 43-year-old woman from the Stafford area who was arrested on suspicion of murder remains in custody. And a man's been charged with stalking Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey and his family over a period of 4 months. Inigo Rowland allegedly turned up at the Kingston and Surbiton MP's address unannounced and numerous times between June and October this year. The 58-year-old has also been charged with possession of a flick knife. Those are your headlines. Now it's back to Alex.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, let's go through your front pages, shall we? The Guardian are leading with this. Hostages are set for freedom in key step to end the Gaza war. The Sun, Rashford's £15 million nightmare over dream home. The Metro, the day they feared would never come. The Mirror, hope amid the chaos. The Times, hopes and prayers as hostages are set for release. The Telegraph, Chinese debt trap threat to Britain. The Daily Express, ultra-fast scan can boost dementia diagnosis rates. OK, I feel like we've got to start with the front page of the Times, because on the top of the paper there, Paul, China assured that Labour would progress the super embassy. China was given assurances that Labour would progress its application to build their new super embassy. The Times understands amid pressure on ministers over ties with Beijing. The government said last night that a final decision on plans for the embassy near the Tower of London would be made next Tuesday. But is it already a done deal? That's what the Times are saying. They've already given China the assurances it would happen. Are we just waiting for nothing to make it look like we've actually done some due diligence?
I've been scratching my head and I can't think what links the Chinese Communist Party with the UK Labour Party. I don't know what it is. So I've got to look. It was a cheeky. I looked at Bill.
I thought you were a comedian.
No, sorry, right. Yeah, I'm trying. Oh no. Yeah, look, here's the thing, right? Whoever's in power is beholden to China. Yeah. There's no two ways about this, right? Whether we like it or not, the whole UK economy is propped up by 2 superpowers. America and China, OK, and maybe a little bit of Europe in there. But here's the thing, we are now the meat in the sandwich between these superpowers. We are no longer the superpower that we once were. We haven't been since World War II, and we are at their behest. And nothing shows this more than the court case we've been talking about all week. We can't afford to chuck China under the bus, because if we do, they can pull the rug from under our economy. Yeah. So, look, I'm sure that they were given assurances. I don't know who gave them assurances. One thing I do know is whether it's the Labour Party, the Conservative Party or the raving looning party, they're all going to have to get into bed with China one way or the other, because that is what underpins our economy.
Yeah, it's deeply worrying, Chloe, because, I mean, as much as I love Amazon, I would rather our country have its sovereignty and when we're not beholden to these superpowers. It's, in my opinion, the massive failure of globalisation that has led us to this moment. We have just, completely destroyed our industries in this country, and now we're just basically an office for the world's financial trades.
I mean, China, it is a huge power, and as you say, Paul, we're not the biggest power as we may have once been. But we have to get the balance right with China, and we have to put our security first. And with this embassy, I mean, there are three things that are deeply troubling. So first of all, this assurance that we're hearing about, my understanding is that the greyed out area on the Chinese embassy planning application that we're also concerned about, they said, we will show you what's in the greyed out area if you assure us that you're most likely going to approve it, which seems very corrupt and crazy to me. We're also hearing that the security services were not allowed to give their say on this planning application, which seems absolutely ludicrous to me. And then we're hearing that the Chinese owners of British Steel offered to waive the £1 billion that the government apparently owes them if this application is approved for the Chinese super embassy. This all sounds very dodgy to me and goes far beyond the realm of, oh, we need to be a bit nice to China for our trade links. This is completely corrupt and a big concern for our national security.
Yeah, Bill, I mean, all these things are exceptionally concerning. I always ask the question, why do they need such a super massive embassy? It's not like Chinese people make a massive percentage of the population here. I'd understand it if perhaps, like Australia, there's a very, very large contingent of Chinese people there, but not here in the United Kingdom. It seems unnecessary.
Well, Paul's right. We're no longer a global superpower, but we are still a very significant country, and I think that's why the Chinese want a big embassy here. But there is so much rubbish in the press. I would be absolutely astonished if guarantees had been given to the Chinese government over that planning decision. Apart from anything else, ministers who take that decision will be acting in what's called a quasi-judicial capacity, and that is open to judicial review if there is evidence that they haven't properly taken the decision on planning grounds. So I think let's await that decision. But on the broader point, and, Alex, you say this is the result of globalisation. It's the result of the reality that China, and I made the point earlier, China is going to be responsible for 1/4 of world growth over the next 50 years. The idea that we want to cut ourselves off from that would be an abnegation of our national interest. Also, if you read or speak to serious foreign policy analysts, they all conclude that the most likely trigger for a third world war is Taiwan and China's actions. So the idea that we don't want to have a relationship with China is for the birds. But because they are, for want of a better phrase, a nefarious actor, and I made the point earlier, I went into a meeting with the foreign minister in Beijing and had my briefing pack stolen, so I know absolutely what the Chinese get up to. But you've got to balance that and you've got to manage it.
I completely agree with you, Bill. The only thing I'd push back on and say is, why do they make up 50? Why will they make up 50% of global trade in the future? And that's because we have given them the money. We industrialised China. We built the factories there. We asked them to build our iPhones, to do all these things. We could have looked at closer neighbours like India and other places around the world that are a little bit more favourable to us. Well, I appreciate it's not that simple, and it's too late now.
Well, in my direct experience, they are an incredibly hard-working, ingenious people, and they have innovated. They are massively growing their economy. Partly it's volume, the number of people in China. But, you know, it is a reality of the world we live in. They are significant.
I haven't got a problem with the Chinese people. I have a problem with their government. That's why I think it's exceptionally oppressive and an evil dictatorship. I genuinely do believe that when you look at their actions, I think we turn a blind eye to so much of what China do. And they committed many crimes that we should be outraged by. But again, as you said, but the realist in us will go, well, unfortunately, we have to do business with them. But, you know, in another world, we would have possibly gone, absolutely not. I'm not dealing with these hostile the States. And that's my biggest fear, is that we just keep on putting... It's the same with Russia. I remember a time when George Bush and Tony Blair, we opened the doors to Vladimir Putin to try to bring him into the fold. And look how badly that's backfired on us. I think we have made... I think the West got so comfortable with its superpower position that it forgot we have enemies around the world, and we emboldened those enemies and helped them, and we became completely reliant on Russian energy, for example, because of us wanting to open the door up to Vladimir Putin back in the 90s.
There's a naivety here, and I think it's directly associated to the liberalisation, the over-liberalisation, the over-progressive nature of which the West is now indoctrinated in. Now, if you are as cunning as Russia and China, you will definitely exploit that, and they are exploiting that on an hourly basis, I'm sure. If you look at some of the debates we have on this channel around transgender and what's going on in Israel and Gaza and how that splits pink-haired people with normal people, etc., etc., these are all massive distractions. You can make decisions were made over, drip-fed decisions were made over a 20, 30, 50-year period. We've always, as long as anyone on this panel's been alive, and anyone's been alive generations before us, we've always, the world's always been split, OK? We are much aligned with the US and the Western nations. Now, because of the way our politics has gone and the way that we are split against Donald Trump, for instance, under a Labour Party in the UK, we have failed to build bridges with our own allies. If we... The way I look at this, right, is 25%, 1/4 of the world, China are going to generate 1/4 of the world's economy over the next 50 years. That still leaves 75%. If you were a big part of that 75%, you wouldn't be worried about the 25%. You could alienate if you had to. And we are the ones being alienated by Russia and China. You only have to look at the way that we've got no fuel sovereignty here, for instance. Yeah, so we buy our fuel from France. Indirectly, they buy their fuel from Russia. Yeah. We are funding the Russian invasion of Ukraine indirectly.
No, we absolutely are. We totally are. Listen, we're going to talk more about China because it's China, isn't it? It's not going anywhere anytime soon. We will talk about more of the show tonight, but there's a little story I briefly want to get Chloe's thoughts on because Chloe's an Oxbridge, very smart young woman, and it's on the front page of the Daily Telegraph, right at the bottom there again. It's a tiny little block there, Chloe. It says, Cambridge better without no thicko rugby boys. This is Dame Mary Beard. She said the University of Cambridge is smarter without thicko rugby players. The classicist and university is better because there aren't any... I can't say these words on live television. She claimed that Cambridge has been transformed for the better because they've been excluded. She said, when you say there were so few third-class degrees at Cambridge, I can tell you it's because those thickos have been removed.
Well, I mean, first of all, if there are thicko rugby boys at Cambridge, I'm not sure how they got there, because if their admission system is the same as Oxford, they don't, unlike American universities, they don't give all these fancy scholarships to people who are good at sport but not good academically. But it is the words here, they're very typical of Oxbridge professors who have a huge disdain for students who want to go off and play sport. I mean, if there's any advice to any kids thinking of applying, it's do not put on your personal statement that you are an Olympic rower or something, because the tutors hate it because they think you're not going to be at your classes. Unlike American universities that lap that up. The academics at Oxbridge, they hate sporty students. Yeah, I mean,
Bill, just quick thoughts there, because I think, we should welcome people who want to do lots of different things at university, but I do think there's been too many Mickey Mouse degrees, and I certainly think there's a lot of that going on, which gets loads of young people into massive amounts of debt. But I think this is just classism, isn't it?
I think it is classism. I don't agree with you on what are called Mickey Mouse degrees, because the one that's always put up is media studies, right?
No, I don't have a problem with media studies.
No, media studies has got some of the best graduate employment outcomes of any degree. But look, Oxford and Cambridge are great universities, but they're also, in terms of the way that they operate and their admissions procedures, I think they are overrated. And I think, you know, we need all of our universities to develop.
Well, a lot of the tutors are very old. They've been there for a long time. They've got very old school thinking. So I've always, although I think academia should be the top priority, I think that students doing sport, I think it's good for their mental well-being, de-stressing them from their university work, but the tutors there just often won't have it.
Right. I've got loads more stories I want to get to tonight, because apparently sex scandals are fueling prison staff sackings. Insider trading claims are flying around because it looks like the stock market is about to burst at the moment because, of course, Trump is threatening another trade war. We've got EU border checks. Have you seen what you're going to have to do if you want to go to your holiday? As you do, it may do every year, just might want to go to Spain for a quick trip away. You're going to have to give over your face. You're going to have to give your fingerprints. Not your actual face. You're just going to scan it, sorry. You can see Paul laughing. It's like Face Off, isn't it? That movie. Just take it all off. Anyway, yeah, loads of that and more to come. This is Alex Armstrong Tonight, late edition. Let's get a bit wacky.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Talk to our favourite space expert, Andy Lound. Good morning, Andy. Because, some people say, well, why does it matter? But it changes our perspective, doesn't it, of cosmic evolution?
Yes, good morning, Beth. Yes, it does. It's quite an important discovery. And again, it just shows that science constantly moves on. The instrument they've used, Gravity Plus, has taken the light from 4 major telescopes and actually analysed that of a black hole. And at the centre of the black hole, you have the quasar, which is the active nuclei of a black hole. And surrounding that is a ring of dust and gas, the accretion disk. And it's thought that the black holes were obviously feeding on this, the materials falling into the black hole. Now, that was measured at 800 times the mass of our star, the sun. However, when they were looking at it very carefully with the new instruments, better resolution, they found that what's quite exciting is the fact that the radiation which surrounds the black hole and part of this accretion disk is actually blasting a lot of this dust and gas out, away from the region. So the electromagnetic radiation and the various interactions is blasting much of this material away, which means, of course, it's not eating up all that material, so the black hole therefore could be up to 10 times smaller than they actually thought. This is a really important discovery because we're trying to understand why there were such massive black holes in the early universe, and our physics wasn't really fitting in with that. But now, with this new instrument and the new measurements we're doing, we're getting a better handle. It does mean, of course, that a lot of the objects we've seen in the early universe now, and looking at those early quasars, we're having to do recalculations and redo a resetting. But it will help the physics of understanding how the early universe formed.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Alex Armstrong Tonight's late edition. Well, joining me now to go over all of the front pages is David Wooding. David, good evening. Thank you ever so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Yeah, we've got a variety of front pages today, but we have to start, don't we? We have to start with Gaza. The United States president is, of course, flying out there as we speak. We saw images of him leaving on Air Force One not that long ago. It's an historic moment. We hope it's going to create peace in the Middle East. However, the Prime Minister is also on his way to Egypt, isn't he? And the US ambassador has been quoted as saying that Labour, or the government, are at least delusional that they played any role in the peace deal.
Yes. Well, of course, there's a foreign trip involved. The Prime Minister's on the plane straight away. I mean, he seems to spend more time on the world stage than he does at home dealing with
I wonder why, David.
issues.
I wonder why.
Maybe he's hiding from problems and leaving that to his cabinet. But he does rather well on the world stage. But in this occasion, I don't think he's going to claim much of the glory, because Mike Huckabee is saying in the Daily Telegraph this morning, or tomorrow morning, that if Britain tries to claim any of the credit for what has happened, then we're being delusional. I think that's fair enough. I think President Trump must claim a lot of the glory. I mean, he won't be shy in doing so, of course, Alex. But, I think it was the German Chancellor, Bismarck, who famously said that politics is the art of the possible. What in fact we've had from President Trump is the art of the deal.
Yes.
Because he's the man who's banged heads together and struck this deal. Now, there's a long way to go before we get a lasting peace. I think the Deputy President, the Vice President, J.D. Vance, said today that we're on the cusp of true peace. Yes, that's where we are, just on the cusp. But it's the best glimmer of hope we've had, not in the 2 years of this conflict, but in the past 30 years of the extended conflict between Israel and the Palestine territories. So, yes, we should all be very hopeful. And if they pull this one off, it will be an amazing coup for the world, not just for President Trump.
I certainly hope so, David. It may even bring an end to those marches we see every weekend in London, and maybe the Home Secretary won't have to do anything about it, God forbid. I want to also ask you, because there's another international story here that's very much a home story, a domestic story as well, and that is, of course, China. One of the favourite words of President Trump himself. They've got on the front page of the Times, they are reporting that China were given assurances by Labour that their super embassy would go ahead. Where, of course, also on the front page of the Telegraph, there's concerns that we're in a debt trap with China because they own so much of British debt, which of course we do need to start paying off, but doesn't look like we'll be able to afford to do anytime soon.
Yeah, I think we discussed this last week, Alex, didn't we? When it was on the front page of the Telegraph. And I remember saying that this one's going to develop, and indeed it has. And it's going to develop even more tomorrow, because MPs return to the Commons after the recess for the party political conferences, and they'll be queuing up to get into the chamber to ask Keir Starmer what the hell is going on here. Now, we've had about 4 or 5 different explanations of why this trial collapsed. And there's more stories again today and again in tomorrow's papers explaining different problems with this issue. We've got that new Chinese embassy, which is touched upon by the Times, saying that if the government now gives that embassy the go-ahead, and there's some concerns about parts of that building which are being seen as special spy rooms, and parts of the plans have been redacted, and there's great concern over this, over what exactly is going to go on in this super embassy. So, of course, it will be very difficult now for Keir Starmer to give this the go-ahead, and apparently it was in the grid for them to give it the go-ahead on Tuesday morning. And then on top of that, you've got this story in the Telegraph, which you've up on the screen now, which is about a death trap. Now, one of the reasons this trial collapsed was, it appears, because we are in hock to China. We rely on them so much for trade. The government's mission is to boost growth. It can't afford to lose trade with China, so we're beholden to them too much. Well, of course, the added problem here, which the Telegraph is showing, is that most of Britain's £3 trillion debt is owned by Chinese organisations, which makes the whole problem of disentangling ourselves from the grip of the Chinese dragon even harder.
Certainly does. It certainly does. And on the note of debt and money, Rachel Reeves is being reported again in the Telegraph here that she could mount a wealth tax. This is the IFS saying this. David, we were talking about this briefly last night. It seems more and more likely that perhaps the Treasury are leaking or floating plans of a wealth Robin Hood tax. What do we make of it?
Well, the other story as well, Alex, is you've got the wealth tax being floated by the Institute for Fiscal Studies in the Telegraph. But in the Eye tomorrow, there's speculation that it's going to be stealth taxes. So will it be wealth or stealth? The problem the Chancellor has got is there's three things she can do here. One is to clobber us with a wealth tax, clobber the better off people with a wealth tax. The second one is to have stealth taxes so that we don't really. She can say she hasn't broken any of her promises. The problem with that is that we all grown a little bit wise to wealth taxes, and people like you and me in the media are exposing them. And the third thing that she can do, which seems to be the most straightforward thing, is to break all their election promises and just put income tax up. But whatever she does is going to hurt, and it's going to have to be done, because if she just tinkers around the edges, this debt problem and this deficit problem will just get worse and worse. And she needs to get this fixed pronto.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do, David. I do think they're going to have to go back on some of those manifesto pledges there, but they keep saying they're not. We'll wait and see. David, I'd love to bring my panel in here to ask you some questions as well. Bill, we've talked a lot about China. We've talked about taxes. I'd like to stay on the wealth tax stuff, if you don't mind. Have you got anything you'd like to ask David about that?
I don't think... This is a statement leading to a question to Dave. Hi, Dave. I don't think the government will deliver a wealth tax, because actually the evidence around the world is that it doesn't deliver. But, you know, there are challenges. So what's your view, Dave, on what is likely to happen?
Well, there's a lot of people pushing for it. Neil Kinnock, the former Labour leader, or Lord Kinnock as he now is in fact pushing for a wealth tax. I don't think she will, like you say, but the problem is she has to do something. And the answer, I think, really is to do budget cuts. But, I mean, we're already being told now, Bridget Phillipson, the Education Secretary, was on TV this morning hinting that the two-child cap for benefits is going to be lifted. And that's a direct response, I suspect, to Nigel Farage saying he would lift it. So if she's going to lift that, that's more money out the window rather than bringing money in. So there really has to be some cuts. Perhaps Pat McFadden, the new Work and Pension Secretary, may have some tricks up his sleeve to cut the benefit bill, but will it come soon enough for the budget? I doubt it.
Chloe?
Just going back briefly to the China story, David, do you think that Keir Starmer is going to sack Jonathan Powell to try and move the blame away from him? Or do you think that Keir Starmer will think that is too embarrassing to have yet another key figure leaving after we've had, I mean, the list goes on, Angela Rayner, Peter Mandelson, etc.?
Well, he can't afford to let anybody else go, that's for sure. A lot depends on what emerges, what sort of a storyline he has when he's challenged by MPs. Jonathan Powell would be an easy one to throw to the wolves because he can say he did it without his knowledge. But of course, it's difficult to believe that what Jonathan Powell did was without the Prime Minister's say-so. So if he gets rid of Jonathan Powell, then he's got no lightning rod to take the attention away from himself. So I suspect he'll cling on to Jonathan Powell as long as he can on this one.
Brilliant stuff. David Wood in there. Thank you. So, former editor of the Sunday Express. Thank you so much for joining me to go through all those stories, David. Really appreciate it. But coming up...
I've questioned myself as to why did I go... what was I doing, and was it the right thing to do?
We've got a bombshell interview. I'll be speaking with Daphne Barrack, the world-renowned journalist who has got so many scoops on this story. What do you think she's going to tell us? This is Alex Armstrong Tonight, late edition.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hello there. If you're heading off to southern Europe in the next few days, there's plenty of dry and warm weather on the way for most of us. Further west, though, there will be some heavy showers, particularly across Iberia, and that's just due to the remnants of Storm Alice that's been affecting parts of eastern Spain over the weekend. So parts of eastern Spain, the Balearics, seeing some heavy showers and thunderstorms on Monday. There'll also be some showers across parts of Sardinia, Sicily, and also parts of Greece as well. But many places will have a fine and dry few days of weather to come with plenty of sunshine.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. Whilst high pressure will keep it generally dry for most of us through the coming week, there will be a lot of low cloud. That means it will be gloomy at times, with the best of any sunshine, generally speaking, across the north and the west of the UK. So high pressure dominates through the next few days. Very few ice bars on the chart, so not much in the way of breeze, and therefore things not really changing day to day. Through this evening, we will see generally cloudy skies developing across most of England and Wales, the best of any clear breaks in the west. And here we could see one or two fog patches, but these are most likely, I think, across parts of Scotland by the morning. With that cloud blanket coming in across England and Wales, it won't be as cool as it was last night. Temperatures generally holding up into the high single figures for most. But across parts of Scotland where the skies stay clear, we could see temperatures fall low enough to give a touch of frost in some rural areas first thing. Otherwise, some fairly dense patches of fog, particularly across the central belt first thing in the day. But that will slowly lift as we go through the morning. Quite cloudy skies for Northern Ireland and the vast majority of England and Wales too, with some drizzle or light showers here and there potentially too. But I'm hopeful that the cloud will break in a few spots as we go through the course of the day. Western parts of Wales, the far southwest of England perhaps most favoured, but I think the best of the sunshine on Monday will generally be across the far north of England and in particular across Scotland, where it should be a glorious afternoon for most of us. In the sunshine, the light winds will help it feel fairly pleasant for October, 15 or 16 degrees for some. In the south, though, under the cloudy skies, feeling relatively cool. Not much changes as we go into Tuesday either. Many parts of England and Wales still pretty gloomy and at times a little bit damp as well. The best of the sunshine for more northern parts of the UK, where Scotland and Northern England should see a reasonable amount. But overall, the cloudy theme will dominate through the rest of this week. Not much in the way of sunshine. Temperatures fairly close to average as well for the time of year.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the late edition, everybody. It's a huge story that we were breaking last night, of course, on this show. Prince Andrew is in trouble yet again, and that's after new emails have revealed that he contacted Jeffrey Epstein 12 months after previously claiming he broke off contact. Well, in the email, Prince Andrew told Epstein, "We are in this together," and told him also, "We'll play some more soon." Now, these revelations have been revealed by the world-renowned interviewer Daphne Barak, who has just published these exclusive Prince Andrew email stories in The Sun and Daily Mail after scooping the world-famous interview, of course, and others with Sarah Ferguson's emails to Epstein last month. Daphne, what a pleasure to have you on the show this evening. Of course, you have broken these sensational stories. I would love for you to take it away for us here and tell us what you've learned and what do you think is going to happen next with Andrew.
I was astonished again and again and again. I mean, Susan Zarinsky, my friend, who is the top woman in CBS, always laughing with me. She said, Daphne, every email, every text you send may become a front page. Here we go, right? But the one with Sarah last month got me to tears because she lied to the whole world, but she also lied to me. And it was a personal huge disappointment for me. And I did confront her and I did tell her that things are coming, and she decided not to come forward. And it was sort of like, we got you, which was very, very saddening for me. And it's one scoop I was very sad to sign. The one with Andrew, at the moment I published the Sarah Ferguson emails, and by the way, I have to promote, I'm sorry, tomorrow there is a Channel 5 whole hour special, 9 p.m., about the emails of Sarah and Andrew. So watch Channel 5. But beside that, the moment I published the Sarah Ferguson's emails, which shocked the world, and of course she was dropped by charities, and of course the king disinvited them to Christmas, everybody was looking for the Prince Andrew's email, and they all told me, when are you coming with that? We knew about it. There are, Alex, many emails between Andrew, Sarah, and Jeffrey Epstein. I'm told more than 100. More by Andrew than Sarah. So lots of traffic between these former friends. And basically, everybody was just looking at other editors of paper. Everybody was like contacting me. Of course, you're doing Andrew next. And basically, we knew about them. And a few days ago, when I unearthed this email, the timeline is just astonishing. I mean, February 20th, it's when the News of the World, which was sitting 2 months about on the photo of Jeffrey Epstein and Andrew walking in the park, published this shocking photo of them. And then 27th of February 2011, Mail on Sunday published the shocking photo of Ghislaine Maxwell, Prince Andrew, and Virginia Giuffre, that Prince Andrew say it's fake, but other people say it's not. And then the next day, February 28th, Prince Andrew is sending an email from his own royal email, which I was astonished that he would do that, and to Andrew, and very friendly, like, don't worry about me, I'm more concerned about you. And we are in this together. This sounds like almost like a complicit. And Wiley said to the BBC interview that he cut any contacts with Jeffrey Epstein after the visit in New York, December 2010. Not only he didn't cut, he just say, please keep in close touch and let's play more soon. And how does he sign with all his titles? God help us, like HRH, Duke of York, KG. So where do we go from here? Unlike Sarah, you cannot strip him from charities because he was already stripped from charities. You cannot, I mean, they're already disinvited to Christmas. So what's there? I don't know. I hear all kind of calls to strip him from as a KG or from the Duke. I understand there are legal processes. It's just astonishing that adult people with this kind of titles don't feel when they're not accountable.
Daphne, can I ask you? It seems to me they were somewhat beholden to Jeffrey Epstein in some way, both of them, Fergie and Andrew. What do you have any indication as to why they might have been felt so beholden to them?
I think the problem with both of them, and it's very known, it's not my opinion only, it's very known that it was only about look for the money, right? So basically, Sarah did not have a very generous settlement at the divorce, like Princess Diana, although she got nice money. But if you're a high-flying duchess, it's a problem. And Andrew, as we know, we had a very questionable relationship with people with the deep pockets, like Gaddafi's son. I mean, I interviewed Gaddafi, but I would never do business with him or his son, right? So Gaddafi's son, the guy from Kazakhstan who bought his house for £3 million more. It doesn't happen to me or you, but you know, Alex, what do we know? So it's always about the money. And don't forget, at that point, Sarah owned millions of pounds. And Andrew officially said that he went to say goodbye to Jeffrey. Other people suggested that he may he maybe went to negotiate some money settlements. And in fact, she did get money from Jeffrey Epstein. And last time I unearthed another email from her that she's basically thanking him, and she said, one day I'll give it you back and you'll have my heart and whatever. So I mean, Jeffrey Epstein was a very disgusting man, but he was a billionaire. And I think it's very, very understood what kind of relationship. And it definitely looks like these two are very scared of him. Although he was a convicted felon at that point, he had to register as a sex offender wherever he went. And Sarah is sending him, oh, I had to apologize to everybody, and I'm so sorry, but you know, I needed to save my children books.
Yes.
And Andrew says, don't worry about me.
Daphne, this is exactly it, and I think the British public are just shaking their heads. They really are. I think they're completely wondering how on earth did this happen. I think I can't wait to hear what you're going to do next. Please come back on the show. There's Daphne Barrack, world-renowned interviewer who is breaking all of these incredible scoops. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Thanks, Daphne. Appreciate it. And joining me now ahead of the Late Show Live, it's our superstar in America, GB News' very own Ben Leo. Ben, what's going up on the show tonight?
Massive show coming up, Alex, because history will be made in the coming hours. The hostages will be released by, Hamas have until 10 a.m. tomorrow, Israel time, to release those hostages. President Trump has boarded Air Force One. He's on his way to Jerusalem. He'll land around midday UK time tomorrow, as I understand it. We don't quite know exactly when those hostages will finally be released. 20-odd hostages, 25-odd deceased hostages as well. Their bodies will be returning back to Israel, but it could come during the show, and to say it's a momentous historic occasion, I guess, is an understatement. Also on the show tonight, we're looking into, I think you've touched on it tonight, Alex, it's ridiculous. The clip from Bridget Phillipson this morning on Trevor Phillips' show on Sky News, where she said the UK played a key role behind the scenes in securing this Gaza deal. Of course, we know that's a load of BS. It was President Trump, it was Israel and Hamas. But we've had the likes of the US ambassador to Israel totally rubbishing that. We've had politicians from all across the spectrum. Dame Priti Patel was on the airwaves this morning with Camilla as well, saying the same thing. So I just wonder, is this Labour government totally deluded? Where do they get that kind of conjecture from? It was only a few weeks ago that Secretary of State Marco Rubio was saying that nations who had recognised Palestine as a state during this negotiation process over the past couple of weeks and months, i.e. France and Great Britain, had hindered the peace process. They didn't do America any favours at all. So we're going to be getting stuck into that, having a bit of fun with that. And also, Alex, breaking in the last few hours or so, I'm not sure if you've seen, but there's a video doing the rounds on social media from the Labour MP Jeevan Sandha, who is calling on the UK to take down the British flags because it makes migrants feel uneasy. He's done a 2 or 3 minute video on X, formerly Twitter, talking about how British values, the British way, is all about drinking tea and sinking pints and going to the football. My argument is, the problem is this. British values and the British way don't mean anything anymore because it's just total nonsense. Britain has been hijacked, and I'm saying if you don't like the flag, you're the problem. British people flying the flag of our great nation are not the problem. If you've got an issue with it, deal with it yourself. We're getting stuck into that. Had you seen that video, Alex? I'm keen to know your thoughts about it.
Yeah, I did see it. I'm just, you know what, Ben, I wish I could say I'm surprised. I'm just not anymore. I'm just not. We saw the suspended Labour MP also say something similar about the flag waving at Labour Party conference. And I'm not shocked, Ben. I'm not. I also love to hear your thoughts tonight on your show about Ron DeSantis, because I know he called out the United Kingdom on digital ID earlier this week. So I don't know if you might have covered it already, but you can see we're just in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, and this is why it's so important we're hearing this American voice at the moment, Ben. But look, thank you so much for joining me. I'll be tuning in just a short period of time, in 10 or so minutes time. Thanks so much, Ben. Looking forward to the show. Of course, we've got loads more coming up on the show. Why have upcoming sumo matches in the UK got audiences worried? You know, it gets wacky this time, and I tell you that for sure. This is Alex Armstrong Tonight, late edition.
newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it. Don't get us on the BBC. Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What we're going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very easy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, what do you think of pop star Katy Perry? She was the one who went to space for 3 seconds and thought she was an astronaut, of course, if you remember. Of course, she's also famous for lots of music, too. She might be hooking up with former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Apparently, they're constantly in contact after they went public with their romance, the Sun has revealed. The pair were recently pictured kissing aboard her yacht, with cheeky Trudeau putting his hand on the singer's bottom. Insiders last night told The Sun the pair have been secretly dating since the start of the summer. Look, I know there's one man on this panel who I can trust with this story, and it's Bill Rammell. Bill.
Do you know, I used to be a serious politician, and I can't believe that at close to midnight I'm discussing Justin Trudeau putting his hand on Katy Perry's bum.
But here you are.
Here I am.
Bill. It's the fall from grace. Once a government minister.
Okay, the only insight I've got to this is that I think it is very difficult for politicians who aren't in a relationship to start a relationship, right? Because you are in the public eye. I remember 2 Labour MPs who I was friendly with, who were elected at the age of 24. Wow. And starting out dating and meeting a potential partner was massively risky. So I do have some sympathy for people in the public eye trying to start a relationship.
Yeah, totally. Angela Rayner's been under fire with her boyfriend, especially recently. Now he's getting chauffeured around at the taxpayers'
Oh, lovely.
So we're hearing.
I suspect that's been stopped.
So there's going to be no secrecy for her and her new boyfriend.
No, that's true.
Well, Justin Trudeau famously said,
and has always endorsed the fact that women can have a penis. So I wonder if he was just checking.
He's just checking. Yeah, I mean, you know, you just can't make it up, can you? I mean, there were not two people I ever thought would work together, but, you know, good luck to you both. That's all I'll say. Good luck. We've also got a bit of sumo news for you. Apparently, according to The Telegraph, sumo wrestling fans were warned about being squashed by falling wrestlers. I don't know where, I mean, I have lots of questions. The ancient Japanese sport of sumo wrestling is coming to London. A 5-day Grand Sumo tournament starts none other than at the Royal Albert Hall on Wednesday, offering ticket holders the opportunity to step into a world of ancient rituals, extraordinary strength and rich tradition. But in the website's Q&A section, it adds the tournament will be presented in the traditional style without barriers between the ring and the seats. It's possible that wrestlers may be thrown from the ring into the ringside as part of the competition. Bill, is it selling it to you?
I'm sure there is a place for sumo wrestling, and I'm sure there's lots of people who like sumo wrestling, but watching really fat blokes wrestle is not my thing.
Oh, your cup of tea. Glad you made that. Put that one in his Wikipedia.
Is it your cup of tea, Chloe?
I once did one of these mock sumo competitions where you put this big inflatable costume on to make you fat. I did it with a friend of mine. It was quite hilarious. There's a video somewhere.
Oh, we'll dig it up. Paul, is it one for you?
That looks a little bit like me. That's what I'm worried about. I'm looking at that thinking, that isn't me, is it? I don't think it's just men in pants wrestling.
Yeah.
Again, I'm with Bill, and that isn't me and Bill there, by the way.
This time next week, Bill and Paul going to try it out live. You don't have to buy a ticket. Don't worry of getting squashed.
I never had a reputation, but Bill once did. This would be a massive fall from grace for Bill.
We've had a press-up competition in the studio before.
Have we?
Yeah, we have.
Between
yes.
Ben and Tom.
Yeah, we've also had some questionable standing. I don't know if I can say the word, but some sort of dropping of someone's backside on the by Darren Grimes on New Year's Eve, which was infamous in its time. Darren, if you're watching, just give us another show. Why not? A very quick little story here for you, because the Times are saying sex scandals are fueling the rise in prison staff sackings. The number of Ministry of Justice staff sacked for misconduct has doubled in just 2 years amid a rise in sex scandals. A total of 397 Ministry of Justice employees were dismissed last year for misconduct, double the 181 in 2022. Chloe, why? Why do you think this is happening?
Yes, Chloe.
What's all your fault?
What's this got to do with me? I mean, I can't understand why people can't just keep it in their pants, because we had another story recently of a doctor going out while someone he was in the middle of operating on somebody, and he nipped out to have a go with a nurse.
Yeah, people just need to stop, don't they? I mean, what's going on, Paul?
Well, I don't know either, Alex. But I'm not sure. I was discussing this in the break, and very quickly I'll just explain. This kind of conflates two stories. One is that sackings are up, and one is there just happens to be the occasional sex scandal. I don't think the two are linked if you read this story further. I mean, I know that's not the sensationalism we require at midnight, but I'm afraid I don't think that there are 400 people getting sacked for having sex in prison.
Well, you never know. You never know, right? You never know.
It's like snuck in by prison staff.
Could very well.
Things like that.
Bill, I'm going to let you off having a comment on this one. I think you've done enough tonight. All right, thanks, mate. Right, let's go through your front pages one more time, shall we? The Guardian: hostages set for freedom in key step to end Gaza war. The Sun: Rashford's £15 million nightmare over dream home. The Metro: the day they feared would never come. The Mirror: hope amid the chaos. The Times: hopes and prayers as hostages set for release. The Telegraph: Chinese debt trap threat to Britain. The Express: ultra-fast scan can boost dementia rates diagnosis. Thank you for joining me tonight. Up next is Ben Leo. If you're going off in the mornings, I will see you tomorrow.
There's just 3 weeks left to see how you could be our biggest winner this year. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Tonight on The Late Show Live. Thank you, President Trump. The hostages released imminently. The war is over. Hello, good evening to you. Tonight on The Late Show Live.